What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Cheap Truth YouTube channel. Hope everybody's doing well out there. Once again, thanks again for checking in on the Cheap Truth. As always, make sure that you subscribe on the way in if you haven't already. Drop a like on this video before you leave. And also drop a comment down in the comment section. Let's get some dialogue going about the video. So, what are we talking about today? Now, I am going to talk about something that's a little bit different than what I've been talking about. I'm going to venture off into the sports world, and we are going to touch on the topic of Terrence Shannon Jr. Now, who's Terrence Shannon Jr.? Terrence Shannon Jr. Is an Illinois University basketball player who was charged with rape and aggravated sexual battery. Now, he has recently been cleared of all charges, and he is set to be drafted in the 2024 NBA draft. Now, I'm going to play this news clip, and then I'm going to give you guys my reaction.
After you weigh everything, you will convict Mr. Shannon as charged.
Please do your civic duty. Stop the madness. They have not proven any charge beyond a reasonable doubt. Sign the verdict form of not guilty on both so we can all go home.
And in the end, the jury sided with the former Illini star Terrence Shannon Jr. Today, he was found not guilty on 2 felony charges. Good evening. I'm Brandon Morano.
And I'm Jennifer Roscoe. Back in December, he was charged with rape after he visited a University of Kansas bar. This whole week, jurors have heard witness testimony from both sides. That continued this morning with U of I assistant coach Tim Anderson and the basketball player himself. WCIA3's Amanda Brennan is live in our newsroom. Amanda, what happened next?
Closing arguments started around 1 p.m. and from there the jury deliberated for almost 2 hours. Next, words from the judge wrapping up this case that we've been following for the past 6 months. In the next story, we've muted the victim and her friends' names from some of the quotes.
In the state of Kansas versus Terrence Shannon Jr., we, the jury, find the defendant not guilty of rape. We, the jury, find the defendant not guilty of aggravated sexual battery.
Those were the words the former Illini and his legal team had been hoping for since he was charged in December. That following an incident at the Jayhawk Cafe in September of 2023 after Shannon went to the Illinois versus Kansas football game. An 18, now 19-year-old said he inappropriately touched her under her skirt that night. That accusation led to this week's trial and some intense closing arguments. Ricardo Leal, the assistant district attorney, went first. He called the victim a typical college student, but the defendant...
Mr. Shannon, he's not the typical college student. He is the 6'7" captain of the basketball team. He's got the NIL deals.
Calling him the big man on campus.
He might as well be the king of the University of Illinois.
And saying Shannon can get anything he wants.
And what he wanted... September 9th of last year. The typical college student dressed to go out for a Friday night.
The defense went next.
This is not about Air Jordans or free stuff. This is about someone's life.
Mark Sutter continued to attack Lawrence police and Detective Josh Leitner.
He doesn't do a thing. The only thing he does is sit in his office and waits for to come in and talk to him and says, oh, you Googled him? You found him?
Sutter didn't like how the investigation was handled. Next, he focused on the DNA evidence.
There's no male DNA found inside or outside of the vagina. That blows the case out of the water. We should all walk in the jury room, vote, come back, and leave. But there's so much more.
Then he once again references Arterio Morris. He's the former Kansas basketball player who was dismissed from the team 2 weeks before this incident. That's because he was charged with rape, but that was later dropped. In the end, jurors sided with Shannon. His response so far, only this video.
You set the trend. Ooh, talk heavy, George. Because you don't want who God put in position to lead this generation. You don't want who God put in position to lead your family. You don't want who God put in position to break through and not break down.
We reached out to the Douglas County District Attorney, and the spokesperson says, quote, "It takes tremendous courage for a survivor of sexual assault to come forward. We will continue to pursue justice on behalf of survivors." Shannon's attorney just got back to us as well, and they say, quote, "As we stated in September of 23, we empathetically denied these charges and waited for our day in court. That time has come. The jury has spoken and justice was served. The public owes Terrence Shannon Jr. an apology."
All right, so let me start off by saying this. Rape, sexual assault, and anything of the sort is something that should not be tolerated. And as far as I'm concerned, if somebody does anything like that, there's a special spot in hell designated just for them. I'm of the belief that anybody who does something like that cannot be rehabilitated. There's no such thing as, oh, we're going to sit this person in a jail cell for 15 years and then they're going to go through counseling. They're going to take these classes and everything's going to be okay. I don't believe that. I believe that there are certain crimes out there that people commit where they just kind of get caught up in a bad situation. Maybe they just made a bad decision. Somebody who's broke and decided to rob a bank one day, hey, that's illegal. You're gonna have to go to jail for it. But I don't believe that you deserve to be in jail forever and you don't get any type of second chance at life, behind that. But something like rape, something like sexual assault, to force yourself on somebody and to forcefully do that to a woman and enjoy it, to me, that's about as demonic and hideous as it gets. And I believe that anybody caught doing that should be prosecuted to the fullest extent possible. Now, with that being said, I am happy this brother was able to get his name cleared out of all this, that he was able to get exonerated, that he was able to prove his innocence. He's maintained his innocence from the beginning. He's maintained that he didn't do what they said he did, what this accuser said he did. And I hope that he will be able to move on and to enjoy a very successful NBA career. Apparently, he's a pretty good player. They're projecting him, at least I saw at least one mock draft where he was going to go in the second round. They compared him to Kelly Oubre Jr., who plays for the 76ers. And, apparently he's supposed to be a pretty good player. So I hope that he will be able to put all this behind him and, just enjoy the rest of his life, man. He had to endure so much during the season and, the no means no chance that he had to endure. And I can only imagine all the other things that were being yelled at him from the stands and having to put up with that. And then, the school suspended him at first. And then luckily he was able to basically sue them and get that decision reversed because a federal judge ruled that they violated his civil rights and that they were wrong in what they were doing. So he was able to actually play, for the rest of the year. But yeah, man, I just hope that he'll be able to enjoy the rest of his life and just put this behind him. If you look at the facts of this case, which I will put a link in the description to a nice article that breaks this case down. If you look at the facts of the case, bro, it doesn't really seem like there was a lot there to begin with. I honestly don't understand how it made it this far. Keep in mind, I'm no legal analyst, not finna sit up here and act like I went to Stanford Law School or anything like that. But man, they talk about rape and there was no DNA evidence of a rape. Just looking at the description and the way that they describe the actual, I guess, a crime, that didn't seem like a rape. And I know sometimes in these cases, they kind of are able to just start piling things on, just start piling charges on top of charges to try and get you caught up in some, well, we can't get them on this, we'll get them on that. But yeah, I honestly do not understand how this made it this far, because it seems like a lot of he say, she say. She said that this was done to me and this was the person who did it. Apparently she Googled and ended up finding Terrence Shannon Jr.'s photo, and that's how she ended up with him as the person who did this to her. And it just seems, it's all weird, bro. Like, it just, I honestly just still don't understand how this case had any legs to stand on to go to an actual trial. And in all honesty, it seems like the only crime that was committed in this whole thing was against Terrence Shannon Jr. And that brings me to my next point. And I'm pretty sure this will be the most controversial part of this video, but I don't care. It's cheap truth. Say what I want, do what I want. But yeah, we had this thing in this country where just because a woman says a man did something to them or said something to them, that means that they did it. And no matter what, you are supposed to believe them. And if you don't believe them, well, you're a part of the problem. And you know, you're misogynistic and toxic masculinity and all of these you know, cute little buzzwords and buzz phrases that they like to throw out you know, about men. And I just don't subscribe to that notion. I'm sorry if that makes me, well, sorry, not sorry, but I just don't subscribe to that. I will not buy into the phrase believe all women. I don't believe that just because you said somebody did something to you, that means that they did it. The same way that if I were to tell you right now, hey, person, listen to me. Yeah, you. I have $1 million in my bank account. Do you believe me? Maybe you do. Maybe you don't. Now, I'm here to tell you, I don't have $1 million in my bank account. so I'm gonna make this one easy for you. I ain't even close. I ain't even remotely close to that. I wish I did. Maybe one of these days I'll be big balling, but I ain't there yet. Okay, I'm trying to get there, but I ain't quite there yet. But yeah, you guys get my point though, right? Just because you said somebody did something to you, that doesn't mean that they did it. And I don't believe that it's fair to men to get convicted in the public like that. You look at Terrence Shannon Jr., he hopefully he's able to just move on with his career and you know, have a great NBA career going forward. I'm pretty sure on draft night this is gonna come up, right? That they're going to make sure that you remember that he was charged. Now, they're going to make sure that you remember that he was charged. Now, they're probably going to whisper the fact that he got cleared of that. Pretty sure Malika Andrews has her speech all well crafted and all well written out for draft night because, you know, she loves to remind people of things that black athletes have done in the past, even if they got cleared of such things. Even if they were found not guilty, she just loves to make sure that you don't forget it. And she's going to make sure that she brings it up. So I'm pretty sure she is locked and loaded and ready to go. Sorry, I'm getting off on a little tangent there. But yeah, man, it's hard for a man to shake back from those types of allegations. And I take it very seriously. So no, I will not automatically believe that that person did that just because somebody else said they did it. Just because a woman said that they did it. I don't believe that that's fair. I believe that we should wait for all the facts, and I believe that we should let the process play out. Now, before you get all up in arms about what I just said and try to counsel me and toxic masculinity and all that shit, notice I did not say that I wouldn't take all women serious. I believe two things can be true. Okay? Two truths can live amongst each other. It can be true that allegations need to be taken seriously and they should be treated as such. And it's also true that just because somebody comes forward with some allegations, that does not mean that the person that they're alleging did these things actually did them. But yes, I do think that you need to take those allegations serious. And if a woman comes to the police with something like that, they should take them serious and they should not write them off, just thoroughly dismiss them. Unfortunately, you see that a lot with prostitutes. The police will kind of just dismiss them and kind of wave them off, hand wave them off a little bit. You're just a prostitute. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't have any respect for your body. You don't have any respect for yourself. We're just going to write you off and just not believe what you're saying. And that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. I believe that you need to take these things serious and you do need to do an investigation. But with the Terrence Shannon Jr. case, it doesn't really seem like there was a lot of investigation. And it doesn't really seem like this really just seemed like a case of somehow, some way, this girl was able to just say that this person did something to her and they believed her and went to trial and put this guy's life in jeopardy for absolutely positively nothing. And thank God. And another thing too, that brings up another point I just thought about. Thank God he had the resources available to fight this case, because a lot of the times people don't have the resources. They don't have the money. They can't afford good lawyers. Luckily, he was able to afford his own lawyers, investigators, all that stuff. Thank God for that. Because some people aren't so lucky. They aren't so blessed to be able to have that. So he was able to defend himself, and he was able to get good legal counsel, and he was able to prove his innocence. But for some people, in all honesty, they plead out sometimes because it's just easy to just go ahead and plead out rather than try and fight the case. Or you can't afford a good lawyer, you end up with a public defender, and like Ply said, a public defender don't get you nothing but a long sentence. So you might as well go ahead and hang that one up. But yeah, man, last thing before I get up out of here, the girl who actually brought these charges against Terrence Shannon Jr., what do I think about her? I think that she should be punished. I think she should be arrested, anything of that nature. Now, to answer that question, I think something should be done. I think that she should definitely have to face some type of consequences behind this. I don't think that you get to almost ruin somebody's life. I mean, you basically kind of ruined his life. It could have been worse, right, if they would have found him guilty. But all the things he had to go through during the season, and all the speculation, and this thing hanging over his head for something that he didn't do at all. I think that's fucked up, and I think somebody has to pay for that, bro. So many times with these types of stories, and it goes back to my whole thing about not believing all women. They get to just do these things. They get to bring these allegations to somebody, lie on them, and they get to just skate away scotch-free, just go on out into the world, and nobody knows who they are most of the time. Even though in this particular case, her name has been plastered all over social media. If you go look the story up, go look the case up on like Twitter or something, you'll see her name plastered all over the place. So I'm definitely not saying that something bad. I don't think nobody should go out and do and harm her or anything like that. I'm not saying that at all. But yeah, you got to do something, bro. Because you can't be playing with people's lives like this, man. Just like I said about the police officer who was writing up the DUIs for sober people and trying to ruin their lives in the last video. And if you haven't checked that video out, go check it out on my page. Yeah, man, it's just certain things you just can't play about. And this whole thing about, I see something out there about maybe a case of mistaken identity. And that's another thing too, bro. Like, you can't be getting that shit wrong. It's just certain things in life, bro, you just can't get wrong. You just can't. And if you do get it wrong, there has to be consequences behind it. Because this guy was about, I don't know what he was facing, but I gotta imagine he was facing at least a decade. I'm gonna say at least a decade, probably more, probably like 15, 20, something like that. But yeah, Terrence Shannon Jr. was facing a lot of time, bro. and his reputation has been sullied just because of an allegation, a false allegation. So somebody got to pay for that, and she got to pay for that in some shape, form, or fashion. You know, whether it be jail time, whether it be, you know, I'm hearing now that he may sue her for defamation of character. I think he should. I definitely think he should, and I think that if you start bringing down the hammer more on these types of things, you know, maybe it'll prevent them from going up there and lying about these things, about sexual assault. And the thing is, man, it doesn't help anybody. Like, it doesn't help. It doesn't help the innocent. It doesn't help the people who are actually, you know, getting assaulted in domestic violence, and ended up in these domestic violence situations and assaults. It doesn't help them either. Because now what people are going to tend to do is they're going to go back and look at this and be like, oh, remember when this girl did this? It doesn't help. So I just think that, I think something got to be done. Like I said, I'm not saying any bodily harm needs to be done to her or anything like that. But I do think that, he would be doing the right thing by suing her and trying to recoup some losses here. But anyway, man, yeah, definitely glad to see that Terrence Shannon Jr. Will be able to get his life back. And like I said earlier, hopefully he'll have a great and successful NBA career and he can put all this behind him. But yeah, man, let me know what you think about the video. Drop a comment. Make sure that you subscribe on the way out if you haven't already. And yeah, I will talk to you guys next time. So, as always, count your blessings, not your problems. I'm out. Peace.